Hello viewers, Tim Pool here with The Huddle, and I'm with Vlad Galtinex, CEO of BOYLE Sports. Vlad, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me, Tim.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. We're here at SBC Lisbon. It's maybe a warning to viewers, it's warm, it's sunny, but we've spoken before for the magazine. It's your first time on The Huddle. Walk us through, since the last time we spoke, your latest progress and updates at BOYLE Sports, including some branding changes.
Absolutely. So I've been as a CEO for just over 2 years at the moment. Get to know the business. It's a big baby, over 40 years old. Retail, digital, Ireland, UK, and I've been thinking in terms of what's next for us for a business. And our customers actually were giving us all of the clues that we needed to know. They were telling us that they love the brand, they love what we have to offer, but they would like to see a bit of a fresher, new look. We've heard them, and what we've done is big, some would say, rebrand. So we have a completely new identity, fresh new colors that really represent our commitment to sportsbook, our commitment to casino, also lottery and bingo, and then a nice play between the retail and digital. And with that in mind as well, we decided to focus more our efforts in terms of continuing to grow in the UK. And as you might know, we've announced our West Ham United sponsorship as well.
Absolutely. Maybe we can talk about West Ham. I'm not sure if we necessarily want to talk about West Ham's results at the moment, but in terms of the sponsorship and what it brings you, because obviously I switched over from Betway to BOYLE Sports. What does it bring you in terms of not necessarily ROI, but in terms of benefits and the thinking behind the deal?
I think for us and for me personally, it was in terms of really making sure that people get to know BOYLE Sports and they give it a consideration. So with the new rebrand and a much fresher look, and we've updated our website, and we are going to continue to invest in our digital and retail proposition, it was finding the right way to bring the brand alive to customers, and as many as possible customers. And throughout our research, we really felt that the team behind West Ham United and the team itself offered a really good chance for us to put our name, put it forward, really sort of like talk to a fantastic fan base and really get the exposure that BOYLE Sports deserve.
Yeah, it's a very vocal fan base, and they're certainly getting engaged.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
So at this conference, you had a panel earlier on. I'm not gonna give anything away. Why don't you tell us what happened in the panel? What was the topic? What were your messages, and how did it go down?
I think it went really well. I think most of the operators that were present at the panel agreed on everything. I mean, we probably had our distinctive views on one or two things. So, for example, the main topic of the panel was in terms of the regulation, and a lot of it focused on the black market as well, and what does it mean for the operators, and having that fair or level playing field, and whether actually we are able to continue to innovate and bring, and how do we compete, and how do we make sure that we are able to protect the customers the best way we can, but also make sure that the regulators and the governments at large realize that we're actually make a very strong contribution to the economy. We're fully behind our commitments in terms of the player protection, and we're also investing heavily. So my position was really in terms of that we need to be in dialogue. We need to be really facing into the issues, into the opportunities, and sort of like arriving on a path that's gonna achieve the intended means of different regulatory requirements. So, for example, making sure that we're protecting the customers, yes, but at the same time, we have the economy where we continue to invest, we can continue to create employment in a sustainable way, but also in a protected way.
When it comes to engaging regulators and legislators, governments, and I guess I think me and you sitting here and everyone perhaps in this conference will have an understanding of what we're talking about, that the player protection measures are in place. But when it comes to just getting that message across, perhaps maybe we shouldn't call it this, but the other side, what is the best, and it's not an easy question to answer, by the way, what is the best and most effective way of getting that message across?
I think it's maybe multiple steps there. It's putting yourself forward, being proactive, being helpful, and in Ireland, for example, we have a new regulator. In the UK, it's a well-established regulatory environment. And in the UK, we can see that the regulator is proactively engaging with the industry in consultations and really seeking the opinions of the operators and everyone participating in the market. And we want to continue to do that. And so our task is to bring the facts and bring stories to life. And the stories in terms of our contribution, in terms of how do we protect the vulnerable, what are we contributing in terms of our social commitments, what technologies are we utilizing to make sure that nothing is slipping, but also highlighting the dangers of over-regulation, perhaps excessive tasks, and using the examples from international markets, yes, like recent examples from the Netherlands or potentially Italy and Spain. That really creates that environment when we can bring things to life and start discussing and modeling in terms of, okay, what are we trying to achieve? If we do A, B, or C, what outcomes that's going to bring, and what's the best way to move forward?
Yeah. In terms of, you mentioned the UK a few times, obviously, is a key market for BOYLE Sports. In terms of the potential, the looming, I guess the right word really is threat of an increased tax rate at different levels. Generally, what view would you put forward as BOYLE Sports representing the industry to that as a potential problem?
Well, we're committed to the UK market. We've just announced a £100 million investment over the next couple of years. Obviously, we had this as a consideration. I would like for UK to continue creating certainty and stability and a good economic environment. I think that UK economy is going to benefit much more by continuing to solidly regulate such operators as ourselves, where there is that certainty, where we can continue to invest, create workspaces, and that's in return going to contribute to the tax and the benefits across the wider economic environment. So my real ask is that I think perhaps taxation could be seen as an easier move in that sense, yes, but over time it can have profound implications, and I'm going to mention Netherlands again, where they have seen recently a drop in the tax revenue. I think much more prudent would be creating that environment where operators are feeling safe, like BOYLE Sports investing over 100 million in creating the jobs and contributing into the economy at large.
Yeah, no, it could certainly be a very counterintuitive policy, and as you mentioned, in the Netherlands, the regulator was very clear in coming out and saying that tax revenue fell as a result of over-regulation. Perhaps a more cheery topic than taxation to end on. You mentioned the West Ham deal, you mentioned the investment, the branding. In terms of this season and kind of going into 2026, I said football season, but obviously on the calendar going into 2026, what are kind of your aims and what's coming up for BOYLE Sports?
I'm very excited. I think, as I said, we have a really exciting brand. It's refreshed. We have a lot to offer to our customers. We are pursuing multiple opportunities and sponsorships, and to continue to talk and engage our existing customers and potential customers. My real desire is for people that are playing perhaps with other operators to give BOYLE Sports a consideration, and they will find surprising maybe a few things out there. I would say watch the space. There's definitely more to come.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck with everything, and thank you very much for your time. Enjoy speaking with you.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.